What's up, everyone? It's Lord Ryujin bringing you another YouTube video for my video series that I like to call Lord Ryujin Presents, where we talk about geek and gaming related stuff. Nothing too big with this video. I just decided that I wanted to talk about amiibo that I would like to see come to fruition. Mostly because I got to thinking about this, and it's just something that I felt like talking about, getting off my chest. Because we have a lot of amiibo. I think there's over 100 something, and there's a lot. And some of them have too many characters in them. Some of them have too many amiibos made. And so I felt like talking about ones that should be made. And I'm going to just go off the top of my head. I may mention some game series that already have more than enough characters. But mostly I want to try and talk about two things with this. Either games that are represented with amiibo currently that don't have enough representation, such as one or two characters. Or characters that don't have amiibos at all. Games that don't have amiibos for them at all that I feel maybe should get some. And this is mostly coming off of the heels of the fact that we're starting to see a lot of third-party amiibo show up. Perfect example, Shovel Knight has got an amiibo now, and Shovel Knight is not really a Nintendo-related property, but yet there's an amiibo for it. Same thing with Ryu, and same thing with Cloud. Cloud's going to get an amiibo as well. So we're seeing a lot of these. And especially if Cloud has never appeared at all on a Nintendo console until Smash Brothers. So we're sitting there and we're talking about stuff like that, where it's like third party and just characters altogether, that haven't had a lot of amiibo representation. But enough of babbling about that. Let's go ahead and get into the topic, and make sure that you put your thoughts on this in the comments down below. What amiibo would you like to see come? I would like to mostly, personally, like to stick with characters that have shown up only or within a Nintendo system at some point. So that's just my 2 cents. But we can also bring in third party as long as they've shown up on a Nintendo system at some point. But feel free to put your thoughts in the comments down below about what amiibo you think should come. What amiibo would you like to see made? So first and foremost, I felt like talking about Metroid. Metroid is one of my favorite Nintendo series, right up there with Legend of Zelda. In fact, sometimes Metroid and Zelda, they interchange with my favorite. It's mostly Zelda, but sometimes I get a better Metroid game and I love it more than Zelda. So it's kind of tied for first. And I feel like Metroid doesn't have a lot of representation. I mean, you're really talking about one character and two variants. Zero Suit Samus and Samus. Same character, just different variants. And that to me is fine because they're Smash Brothers characters. And so maybe Nintendo's waiting to release an official Metroid game that includes some of the characters, like they did with Twilight Princess HD and bringing the Wolf Link amiibo. I'm sure that they're waiting to do something like that to bring in more Metroid characters. But I would personally love to see Giant amiibo, because we've only gotten one Mega amiibo with Yon Yoshi, but I would like to see a lot more. And we're not talking about the plushy ones that you can cuddle with. We're talking about, full scale, hard plastic characters. Personally, I would love to see a Mother Brain. Mother Brain would be really easy to do. Really easy to do. You're talking about just like, sort of like the 30th anniversary Mario, where it's just like a big giant piece of plastic that's very detailed looking to like show off Mother Brain. And it doesn't even have to be the Mother Brain from Super Metroid. It can just be like the one that we've seen before that's been encased in glass. That's perfectly fine too. But my personal preference is, of course, going to be Ridley. Ridley is my boy. I mean, he has shown up in just about every single Metroid game, and he's always been, just this really great boss fight. I've always enjoyed fighting Ridley, and of course Ridley is iconic with Metroid. Anybody that knows the history of Metroid knows why. I'm not going to go into that here, but Ridley is very iconic, just sort of the same lines as Bowser is to Mario and Ganondorf is to Zelda, Ridley is to Metroid. And the sad part about all that is that the other two examples that I gave, they have amiibo, but Ridley doesn't yet. And I think that we really should see a Ridley amiibo. I would be really on board with that. And I do love Legend of Zelda, so there's not really too much more that I can say about the amiibo. I think they have enough representation. I mean, you have all the main characters in there, and I don't want to get it to its insane like Animal Crossing, and we start having way too many Legend of Zelda characters. I mean, a Tingle one would be kind of cool, maybe even like a Phantom or something, but then you start getting into these weird, crazy things of like, well, why not a Bellum, or why not a Zant, or why not, any of these other ones. So I think Legend of Zelda is fine. I personally wouldn't mind one or two more, but I'm good with the representations that they have for Zelda, and if they don't make any more amiibo, I'm perfectly fine with that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to address the elephant in the room, so that way I don't get any comments or any kind of like people thinking, well, why aren't you talking about Mario? Mario has more than enough representation, I feel. It really depends on how you break it down, but Mario does not have enough representation. Mario does have enough. I mean, you have all the main characters that are involved in a Mario game. Mario, Luigi. You already have Toad, even though Toad showed up for a different game. You have Princess Peach and Bowser Jr. With the exception of making the variants that Bowser Jr. gets with like Lemmy and Roy and Windy and all of them, there really isn't much of a need to make that many more amiibo. And it's even gotten to the point now to where we've got like Silver and Gold, and again the 30th anniversary Mario. So I think that there's enough representation for Mario for right now. And even Rosalina, I completely forgot that Rosalina was in there. So we have more than enough representation for Mario, I feel. And even if you want to break it down and include Wario and Yoshi, even though they have their own game series, I feel as though they have more than enough representation. And the same holds true with Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing, please stop. I mean, all you really need to do is give us the villager. That was it. But you went way overboard and you gave us like just about every freaking Animal Crossing character that there is. I think you got like 12 something characters from Animal Crossing, most of which are just useless anyway. And you even have amiibo cards for them. So I think that the Animal Crossing representation is good for now, unless they just do something way crazy, like, maybe having KK get you, different songs or something like that for the next Animal Crossing game, or Sahara, does something with her shop, or, you know what I mean, like, unless they do something really, they start going, like, very creative with them, I think that the Animal Crossing amiibo are done, and there shouldn't be any more. And I know I'm probably going to get a lot of slack for this, but I feel as though Fire Emblem is the same. Now, don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed playing with Corrin, and I really enjoyed playing with Marth and all that stuff, but I'm not into Fire Emblem, and the people that are into Fire Emblem, I'm pretty sure that you might want to have more amiibo, but I think that that's enough. I really am a firm believer that when you start getting into like 6 or more, that you're good. And if you look at all the Fire Emblem characters that are available, I think that there's more than enough representation within the roster of Fire Emblem characters to call it a day. And you can probably do this once per generation. I mean, I can easily do that. I can easily see a once per generation thing to where, because we introduced a new game, here's a character from that. That's cool as long as you do it every couple of years, but I think there's really more than enough representation of Fire Emblem right now, and the same thing goes for Pokemon. Pokemon, I feel as though, has enough representation, because otherwise you're starting to go overboard like you're doing with Animal Crossing, where, oh, well, there's over 700 Pokemon, they all need to get an amiibo. No, they don't. You can probably just bring out like the big ones, like obviously the ones that show up in Smash are going to be there, but even if you want to include individual Pokemon for, like, say, Sun and Moon, bring out the big ones, like the big legendary Pokemon. One for Sun and one for Moon. That should be about it. There shouldn't be much more than that, because otherwise we're going to start getting to this point to where it's like Animal Crossing, and now we've only got like 15, 20 Pokemon amiibo that really aren't necessary, I guess. They'd be cool to have, but not really necessary. Now that we're done with the ones that I really think are done with representation, let's get back to what I was initially talking about, where characters or games that need to give amiibo. Personally, I love Star Fox, and I think that we could just use a couple more. And what I mean by that is really just the main characters. You don't have to go crazy and give us like the entire Star Wolf team or anything, but maybe give us Wolf, maybe give us Crystal and Andros. That's really about it. That's all that I would ask for. I mean, if you gave me a Slippy and a Peppy, that would be fine as well, although they're not really relevant, I feel, to the team. And the same thing goes with Star Wolf, because other than like the Panther and the Lizard, Pigma, I'm sorry, I forgot Pigma was in Star Wolf. There isn't a whole lot of characters that I know, and really, it would just be better to include Wolf, because Wolf has also showed up in a previous Smash Brothers game. So that, to me, would be a better representation of Star Fox. So maybe Wolf, Crystal, and Andros, I think. Otherwise, you're good with that. You don't have to go any further than that. I would personally think it would be cool to see like a Landmaster, but that's just me. I don't know how you'd even would use that, but I think it would be cool to have some kind of like a Landmaster amiibo. But again, I'm also more on board of starting to get like large-scale amiibo that do more, than just give us a little bit of data, that maybe have a little bit more room for storage, and, maybe when you tap it, you get like, I don't know, co-op assist or something, You can get creative with the idea, but you get what I'm saying. Another game series that I enjoy is Donkey Kong, and I feel as though Donkey Kong is about the same. I mean, when you've already brought out Donkey Kong, and that's really the only representative that you need. You brought out Diddy Kong, and that's fine. Maybe Cranky, only because I'm a fan of Cranky, and probably Funky, although Funky Kong really isn't necessary to me. Neither is Cranky Kong. They would just be kind of like, okay, cool, kind of thing. But really, Donkey Kong is all you need to come out with. Diddy Kong is only there because he shows up in Smash, and he's typically Donkey Kong's sidekick. But otherwise, I think Donkey Kong is good as well. Maybe one or two more, but if you don't come out for any more, I'm cool with that. I personally would be down for Waluigi. I know that wouldn't make much sense, because Waluigi is kind of this offshoot character that doesn't really have anything. Like, doesn't show up in the any of the Wario games. Doesn't show up in Smash, and is kind of just there as like a side character, I guess. Like Nintendo's just like, man, we need one more character. Who can we use? Oh, Waluigi. Okay, but I think it'd still be cool to have a Waluigi one, even though I don't know what you really would do with it. Just to kind of complete the set, I mean, you got Mario and Luigi. Why not have Wario and Waluigi? But that's just me. And now we get to the meat and potatoes of this video, and I apologize for this long-winded video. It's just something that I feel like needs to be discussed in good detail, because there are a lot of games, a lot of video game characters, and a lot of series, especially within the Nintendo portion of it, that needs to be discussed in detail. But I think that just about everybody else is good. Like, you can't really say much more for Yoshi, and you can't really say much more when it comes to like Wii Fit, because what else would you really use? So So now we get down to the meat and potatoes of it, and we get to other characters, third-party characters, and all that stuff that, or even first-party characters, really, and second-party that don't have any amiibo representation. And this is a game coming from, like, again, Shovel Knight and all that stuff. So what would I personally like to see? Well, I'm just going to glance over here to my video game collection and sort of give me a little bit of guidance here. And this is just my personal opinion, but Blaster Master. Come on, I love Blaster Master. You can just make it a simple little, make it look like the 8-bit suit, or even give us the little tank one. It'd just be cool, and it would give you an excuse to come out with another Blaster Master game. That would be just fine. I think that we need to get something from Luigi's Mansion. And I know that what you're saying is like, well, we technically have 2 Luigis, but I'm talking about more like, Luigi's Mansion, like Egad, maybe a King Boo, or even Luigi with like the Poltergust. Those would be cool. Luigi's Mansion actually has no representation whatsoever. And I know that that's because there hasn't been a Luigi's Mansion game since the whole amiibo thing took off. So maybe if the next game, if they ever come around to it. Kid Icarus, only because I feel like, again, if you're going to bring in all the heroes, you need to bring in the villains. And I hope I don't spoil this for anybody that hasn't already finished Uprising, but Medusa or even Ares, or Hades. They could have their own amiibo, and they could be giant scale ones since they are gods and everything. That's fine, but they would be cool to see. Let's see here. What else? Some of these I'm thinking of, like, yeah, you could use them, but they would be kind of difficult to do. It really would just depend upon if Nintendo got a game for them or licensing rights. Like some of them that I would talk about, like, oh, we're getting a Bayonetta one. Well, cool. Maybe in the future we can get Rodan and Jean. That would be great as well. I'm having difficulty thinking of his name right now, but Bayonetta's father, I always thought he looked just really, really good in the games, and so you could easily bring him into it as well. Otherwise, like with Ryu and Cloud, they got licensing rights, so would that necessarily mean that we could probably see Ken or anything like that? And it really would just come down to if they could get licensing rights. Like, think about Mad World. I would love to see a Mad World amiibo. But do they even have the rights anymore? I mean, technically that's like a Sega Platinum Games property, and I know that they're good with both of them, but then you had games like Anarchy Reigns that came out on other systems that included that character. So would they even be able to get the rights to that? Travis Touchdown or characters from the No More Heroes would be great to see. And again, all of these may come, because I know that a reason why we haven't got a lot of these amiibo is because there hasn't been a game for them yet. There hasn't been another game that's come out since the amiibo thing started for Nintendo to go, yeah, we really want to make a Travis Touchdown amiibo for No More Heroes 3. Because there hasn't been one. And for other characters that I would like to see, like, oh, hey, Simon Belmont, bring out that Simon Belmont, that Castlevania representation. I think that would be very hard because Konami's not really focusing on games right now. And I don't even know if Nintendo can bring that back. I would like to also see more Mega Man representation. But again, that really is going to depend upon their partnership with Capcom. Rayman would just be really fantastic. If you gave me just one Rayman and that's it, you don't have to give me any of the other characters, just Rayman, I'd be good with that too. And then from there, probably at least the Red Leader from Wonderful 101 and Elma from Xenoblade Chronicles X. Because I would say the main character, but that's a customizable character, so that would be difficult to do. Unless, of course, you can do something like what you could do with Mr. Game & Watch and maybe come up with different decals and stuff. But otherwise, I think I'm good. Because the problem with this whole subject is it comes down to what Nintendo can and cannot do. And if the NX comes out and they say they get the, let's say that Capcom gives them the right to the next Resident Evil game, will we see a Leon S. Kennedy or Claire Redfield amiibo? Who knows? That really comes down to their partnerships. So it's really, really difficult to sit down and break down each and every game series and each and every one that I'd like to see an amiibo for, because it does come down to the partnerships that Nintendo makes. But this is just a short list of what I would like to see. I would be cool with just about any kind of amiibo, because I plan to get them all. But there are some that I feel are really, really pointless, but that's another video for another time, as far as the amiibo that I feel kind of not really even needed. But make sure that you put your thoughts in the comments down below about what amiibo you would like to see come. And again, we can go on and on about this all day. We can talk about every game series ever, because like, oh, well, let's bring out a Death amiibo because you had Darksiders 2, which that would just rock, by the way, but doubtful. And all that stuff, Skull Kid, we can go on and on forever. But and I've already seen that I've taken like what are we at now? Almost 22 minutes. I've taken a lot of time in this video, so I appreciate you watching. If you have watched all the way through, I appreciate it. I always appreciate all the support that I can get. Like this video if you enjoyed the content. That way I know I should make more videos like this. Feel free to subscribe if you like. I make videos like this at least once every week, and also share thoughts for future videos. If I like the idea, I'll give you a shout out, and I will also talk about that topic. But otherwise, I think I'm good for right now. I'm trying to really think real quick if there's anything else that I've missed. Although I'll probably just leave a comment to this video if I can think of any after the fact. But I appreciate you guys watching. As always, I'm Lord Ryujin. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time.